Conservative Party quasi-leader Pierre Poilievre is staying in his taxpayer-funded mansion despite the fact that he is not eligible to be staying in said mansion. So in this video, I'm going to break down this story, and also in a bit here, I will get to my thoughts on this, which may surprise you, or maybe not, because I am the rational national. That was really lame. But I'm going to get to the breakdown here and just the incredible hypocrisy at the heart of this story, which for me is really the highlight of this entire thing. But first, let me lay out the basic facts of what's going on. So there has been discussions about this for a couple weeks now, since Pierre Poilievre, of course, lost his riding in Carleton. He's now forcing a conservative MP out of his seat when there's 6 months from qualifying for their pension to take over his very safe seat in Alberta so that he can attempt to stay on as the Conservative Party leader. But in the meantime, he's not actually eligible to be staying in the official opposition residence. So from Press Progress here, Pierre Poilievre no longer entitled to live at public mansion. So this is just the facts. According to the Official Residences Act, Stornoway is mandated to be, quote, maintained as a residence for the person holding the recognized position of Leader of the Opposition in the House of Commons. The role of Leader of the Opposition in the House of Commons is not synonymous with the role of party leader, since the former is a formal parliamentary role that can only be filled by sitting members of parliament. Pierre Poilievre is not a sitting member of parliament. Yet, he is staying in his mansion regardless. So, Globe and Mail broke this down, writing here, or I should say that the defense from the Conservative Party. Andrew Scheer, who's acting as the interim official opposition leader, says that it doesn't make sense for Pierre Poilievre and his family to move out of the home in Ottawa's Rockcliffe neighborhood, given Poilievre's chances of winning a seat in a pending Alberta by-election. Quote, it would be more costly to taxpayers to move the family out and then right back into the residence later this summer. I have no intention to move into the residence, and so we expect the family will just remain there through this short transition phase. I'm going to say something that you will likely never hear me say ever again. I think I agree with Andrew Scheer here. No, I am very fair. Clearly, I am looking at this objectively. I don't think this is a big deal. I think it's very clear that Pierre Poilievre is going to win that by-election. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to move him out, just to move him back in a few months later. What is wild to me, though, is you know for a fact the Conservative Party and conservative media would blow this up into something if the shoe was on the other foot. Can you imagine an alternate universe where Trudeau stayed on as the Liberal Party leader, lost the election as they were clearly going to do? Let's say Trudeau even lost his own seat. But then they got a Liberal who was in a even safer Liberal riding to vacate his seat for Trudeau, so Trudeau could stay on as leader. And in one of the safest ridings, a guy that's 6 months away from qualifying for his pension forced this guy out so Trudeau could come in, and then agreed to keep his taxpayer-funded government residence as he awaits the by-election. Can you imagine the ruckus this would cause? I mean, you don't have to imagine it, because there has been years and years of arguments from the Conservatives that, oh, we can't possibly fix up 24 Sussex, which is where the Prime Minister should be living, which is a completely dilapidated. It's unlivable. We can't possibly fix that up because it would cost too much money. Yet you have here somebody who's not even supposed to be in this residence, which, by the way, also has a staff. So the staff is being paid to serve him as he's there. It's a situation that this would be a massive bomb with the Conservative Party, but if it was the Liberals. But here, nobody cares, because we're a little more rational here on the left, and we have to look at this objectively. Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to move out if you're going to move back in just a few months later. That said, I want to share Charlie Angus here, who had a great video on Stornoway from about a year ago. But he shared on Blue Sky here saying Pierre Poilievre lost his seat and yet he refuses to leave the 19-room mansion that comes with the chef and groundskeepers, all paid for the taxpayer. Or sorry, by the taxpayer. It is the leader of the opposition who is in parliament. A grifter is going to grift. So let me play this fun little video for you.
Welcome to Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, the Ottawa edition. And on this episode, we're visiting Rockcliffe. This is one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in the country. This is where the old money, the big money, and where Pierre Poilievre have their digs. Now, Mr. Poilievre already has a house in Ottawa, but by moving into Rockcliffe, he gets a 19-room mansion, servants, a personal chef, and $170,000 a year in upkeep for the joint. Talk about gatekeepers. This guy's got groundskeepers. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with an official residence for the leader of the opposition, but I do have a problem with Pierre Poilievre telling senior citizens that they don't deserve to have access to free public dental care while he's being served Eggs Benedict from his own personal chef in his own mansion paid for by the taxpayer. Pierre, enough with the champagne and caviar dreams. Please.
Great little video there from Charlie Angus. It's really unfortunate that he decided to retire. Though I completely understand it, but this is somebody who I think is really close to the grassroots, really a movement builder, is the kind of person that the NDP needs to seek out next as a leader, but not him specifically, but someone like him. But the point there stands. This is somebody in Pierre Poilievre who has fought against dental care, pharmacare, $10 a day child care, all of these programs that have helped millions of Canadians. He's against those, but he happily accepts his government funded or taxpayer funded 19-room mansion, even though he doesn't actually qualify to live there. Now, again, I don't care because I understand the circumstances, but shoe on the other foot, you know he would be freaking out. So just to bolster a couple points there, this is the repairs that Stornoway, the residence that Pierre is staying at, they got $170,000 in taxpayer-funded repairs, which, again, I have no issue with. But they got much-needed repairs. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's residence, 24 Sussex, is still uninhabitable. Has been for years because of not just because of the Conservative Party, I want to be clear, because it's been an issue for over a decade. But politicians are so afraid of of just being like, yeah, we have an official residence. We probably should repair it. It's over 100 years old. Maybe we should make it livable again, as opposed to living in residences that are, in other places. Just fix the damn one that you're supposed to be living in. But they're so afraid of doing it because of the headlines that it causes, especially, the past few years, how rotten things have gotten in politics, just the parties at each other's throats. So this uninhabitable, yet the Pierre Poilievre residence was completely restored just 2 years prior to him getting there. And on that note, let me share a clip. This is from a year ago of Pierre Poilievre answering a question about 21st Sussex.
The federal government is seriously considering options to build a brand new official residence for the Prime Minister. What do you think of this move, and what would you do with the residence if you become Prime Minister?
Well, I think that this will be, of my list of priorities, this will probably be the last. We don't need a new home for the Prime Minister. We need a new home for working class Canadians.
Of course. Just smooth talking Pierre Poilievre, all his garbage that he continued spewing, claiming that he was this big working class hero, going to really take care of housing, despite the fact that when he was in control of housing under a conservative government, did absolutely nothing, but now transformed into the guy who's all about labor, all about workers, even though he has a 20-year record of voting against labor in support of business, voting against every single government program that has benefited Canadians, yet very concerned about the cost of repairs to an official residence, even though his own residence got almost $200K in repairs before he moved in. Yeah, okay. This is why they haven't been able to fix 21st Sussex for decades, because of garbage like this. So I just think it's remarkable when you have somebody here who would be losing his mind if this was Justin Trudeau staying in a residence that he's not qualified to stay in, would be absolutely going crazy, as would right-wing media. Yet He's doing it, and there's barely a peep about it.